So here we go. The DnT first kill. And we will... All right. So just looking at our squad, you can see we had 3 NGs, a Druid, 3 Heralds, a Chrono, a Dragon Hunter, and a Warrior. So the interesting thing here is you might go, why 3 base NGs? So the first thing to remember is at this point, as far as anybody knew, on single target, Condi in fact, Condi NG was in fact the highest DPS as far as we knew, because again, we didn't have public DPS meters, but Condi NG was the highest DPS Condi build. And for Veil Guardian with the red Guardian, you needed to have, as far as we could tell, as far as we could figure during progression, you needed to have 3 Condi classes to kill the red Guardian. So the highest DPS Condi classes we had were NG. A lot of guilds knew that because during the beta, when Sickest Guild, the video I was going to show you, but the squad UI was busted, they were the ones who used Condi NG. So that sort of set the meta. They killed Veil Guardian in the beta with Condi NG as like the crux of their build. Yes, there were Condi builds then, but Condi NG was like sort of like the big deal Condi build. Condi NG at the time was a meta fractal build in Fractal 50 farm. Condi NG was like one of the meta DPS builds because it blew people's minds that you could get like a 15k burning tick on Condi NG, and people were like, oh my god, whoa, 15k, no way. DnT is not recruiting. We are not an active guild. So one other thing interesting about Sinister and Viper gear was before HOT, the food, like the level 80 food everyone used, gave 40% Condi duration. So like rare veggie pizzas did not give 100 expertise. They give 40% Condi duration. So you didn't need Condi duration on your gear. So Sinister was enough to Condi cap for almost every Condi build. So Condi NG with Sinister gear was already a thing. So then why 3 Heralds? Simply put, Herald was the highest DPS single target thing in the game. Like literally just auto attacking and using sword 2 and running your facets and then swapping to dwarf and using your hammers. Literally just doing that was like highest single target DPS in the game. It was, as best, we didn't, again, DPS meters weren't like a big public thing. According to like spreadsheets and according to different methods of testing, it was about 30k DPS, which was far higher than what you could get with most builds with most people's skill level at the time. Obviously, if people knew how to play Tempest better, they would have gotten way higher DPS on Tempest. But the side benefit was by running all those facets on your Heralds, you were making boons. So you not only had like either best DPS or close to best DPS, like maybe Tempest was better DPS, but Tempest didn't make 25 stacks of might, fury, protection, swiftness. Like it didn't do all of that. Yeah, and then Warrior obviously was banners, or was strength, tactics, and discipline, and it was phalanx strength. And then, so the Dragon Hunter was actually our tank. Dragon Hunter was actually our tank. But yeah, the Dragon Hunter was playing, if I recall, the Dragon Hunter was playing like, it was a very weird build. It was like, it was tanking on, the Dragon Hunter was like tanking on like half knights, half like something else. It was like a very, very defensive build. A lot of guilds were using Scrapper as their tank for this fight, and we noticed during our progression while we were raid testing that Scrapper was a little bit overkill, and you could squeeze out a little bit more damage using Dragon Hunter. So Dragon Hunter is what we went with. Now, as far as what the question you asked is, why is the one chrono with the not with the whatchamacallit dudes, the NGs who would benefit from the alacrity? It's a good question. The answer is who the fuck knows, because people did not understand the value of alacrity, and alacrity was omega overpowered. At this point, alacrity was double what it is today. Alacrity in these days was 66%, but people didn't know. People had no fucking clue how good alacrity was, because there was no real way to test it. Quickness, however, people knew how good quickness was. And my guess is that the chrono is in the squad that's going to the power side during the split, so that quickness would be there. Yeah, and plus, obviously, with time warp, hopefully you'd get... No, they changed alacrity because it was overpowered. It was like, it was super busted. But yeah, alacrity also wasn't a boon. It was just a buff. So anyway, this is going to be very scuffed tanking. My guess, I don't remember how we tanked it, but we'll just play it and see. Well, Chronos did swap, but that was not for progression. This is literally our first kill on live. So Chronos did not have the swapping technology figured out yet. This is like literally our first kill on the live servers. So let's go ahead and watch, and you can kind of see what's going on. And yeah. And you notice I'm not using Blood Reckoning, because Blood Reckoning did not do what it currently does. It didn't make you invulnerable, and it didn't refresh your burst skill. And you can see another interesting thing. We're going to greens. That's another reason why we used NGs. NGs were on the green team, and the NGs have grenades. So the NGs could still throw grenades and stuff at the boss while they went and did greens. So that was like another reason why you would go with NGs. The other thing was, like, not only did people not know how to play Chrono, people really were bad at playing Druid. People did not have like Druid healing things min-maxed. Like, the idea of like use like your staff skills to quickly build up your CA as fast as possible, and then go into CA and do like a quick CA, like 3-4-5 or 3-4-2. Like, people didn't have that all figured out yet. So healing was really bad. The heals were really bad. So there was no way that people were going to tank the greens until healing got way better. So obviously my rotation is going to be complete shit, because at this point, you were just trying to use whatever skills were available as fast as as much as you could. There was no like rotation. No one knew no one really had rotations down. Everyone was just playing by skill priority, where you try to use your best skill that you can at any given time. And then, so one thing you notice is we're not tanking him near the edge. We're kind of like fighting him in the middle, like no man's land, which is, I don't know, not the greatest. Extra careful with the blues. And you can see how much worse the Greatsword Burst was than the Greatsword Burst skill was terrible. Like it actually was less damage than the than your base Greatsword Burst. But as you can see, I'm a pro, so I'm using my Greatsword 3 to dodge every blue, like a real pro. Another thing I want to point out: Seeker control. So this is yet another reason why we took NGs. The NGs, while all this was going on, dude, think about how much pressure was on the NGs. While all this was going on, the NGs were they were putting chill and blinds on the Seekers and using the which kit is it? Flamethrower that has like the knockback, like the air burst. No, it's not big old bomb. It was like an air burst. I think they had bomb kit, but I think they had like flamethrower for like the air burst, and they were knocking back the Seekers with the air burst. So like the Seeker control, like we could have solved the Seeker control by having the Druid use Entangle, but instead we made it everyone made it way harder on themselves and just put the NGs in charge of Seeker control. Very interesting. Well, why? I think the thing was just no one knew how to play Druid, so we just assumed that Druid needed that glyph, the elite glyph, to do its job. And in fairness, it kind of did. Because remember how OP Grace of the Land was. Like, look at that Seeker. It's just fucking causing a headache. We did, however, interestingly, bring the green over. A lot of groups were not doing this. This was one thing that we figured out in raid testing that almost no other guilds were doing during progression, is that you could bring the green over and kill the green and blue simultaneously. If you watch like Snow Crows or Sickest Guild or like just any like Hippo guild, they were all doing three-way splits. So they would send like 3 to red, 3 to blue, and 4 to green or something like that. So yeah, so we realized that pulling them together was the way to go, and that was a pretty big kind of thought. And you can see I'm using Mace on swap to UCC. Yeah. Pre-dropping my banners. I assume that's where we're tanking. Nope, just drop banners and walk away from them. That was good. Yep, just drop banners and then walk away. That makes sense. You see also, we didn't CC. That was another thing that we kind of realized, was that the CC isn't that threatening. As long as your Druid has their CA ready for this phase, you can heal through this, no problem, which everyone now knows. The difficulty were the Seekers. If you had the CC phase and Seekers up your ass, then the Seekers were a real problem. So were pretty good about secret control in that. And then now you see, like, we're moving around the arena. We move them all the way to the edge of this one. So we have the idea here is that we have the maximum amount of time safe from the electric floor where we don't have to move him. Because now the floor on the other side is going to light up. And like, look at that. Like we have, like, we're two pie pieces ahead. My guess is we are moving him like this because this is just the way we move him during the last phase, where you just constantly move. And this became like the pug strat, was that you just move, do a green, move, do a green, move, do a green. And you would go around sort of the middle, this inner circle. And then that was sort of the way. Well, I mean, the DPS we had at this time was below what pugs have now. The average pug now has far better DPS than we had at this point in time. But all right, we got to the split phase. Hold on, look at my warrior's look. Look at my warrior's look. It's Aetherblade pants, T3 human shoulders. Hold on. Oh man, things change. They're still the same. Weird, isn't it? Anyway, ANET hasn't made new meta pants in a long time. All right, so we're pulling over green again. We have the split. Repeat. I mean, what pants are better? They haven't made... Oh, I got teleported. Big mistake. However, I redeemed myself with Greatsword Rush to get back in the mix. I just caught a big heal there from somebody, from Keys. Why am I not using my burst? There we go. All right, last phase. This is where it gets hot, heavy, spicy, and delicious. Veil Guardian getting low. We move him. I use my Signet of Fury to get my thing up because I don't have Headbutt. You also have to remember... So another thing, yes, Blood Reckoning was shit. Blood Reckoning did not refresh your burst. And Blood Reckoning didn't have like that mega heal. Basically, all Blood Reckoning did was it gave you like crit chance during the effect. Like it was like a little bit of a heal, it was like a 3k heal or something like that. And I think it gave you like crit chance, which you didn't need. So it was pretty useless. But so you might say, well, why don't I have Headbutt? Why am I not using it? Why am I using the banner? So you guys got to remember, the big thing was getting the Deathless achievement. What's it called? When you clear the wing without anyone dying. Eternal. So we really wanted Eternal. Obviously, we tested the raid, so we knew all the fights way better than everybody else. In fact, we were the only people that knew the fights. But so we wanted Eternal first go. So we were playing extra safe, and I was using the banner. So yeah, we were playing extra safe, so no Headbutt. But also Headbutt at the time was really considered not good. Signet of Fury was considered better than like anything at the time. But yeah, like this last phase is like super chaotic, and the entire idea is to just move him as fast as we can. Every time the floor stops, we go. Boom. Like, so the tank is already moving. The second the floor the worst thing you could do was have a green spawn behind you. You wanted to move him as fast as possible, because if the green spawned in the electric floor, you were fucked. So we had to CC really fast just so he would move, so no greens would spawn behind us. Boom. Like, if we had waited on the CC there, the green would have spawned in the electric floor. So we got to the green. Easy peasy. Pug strat. Okay. But in any event, here we go. Boom! Beyond the Vale. Look at that achievement. How many times? This was a one-shot on live. So I'll talk about progression. We did our progression during raid testing. This was the same team that we tested raids with. Yeah, this was the same team. So we had already progressed on the test server. So yeah, we one-shot this boss. In fact, we one-shot all the bosses at the beginning. But so anyway, we full cleared on the test server. So on the test server, when we were learning the fight, I think we spent a total of 2 hours on Vale Guardian. I think the advantage of Vale Guardian was that this wasn't World's First on live. We were not, since we tested the raids, we were not eligible for World's First. World's First was not DnT and Attuned were testing, so we weren't eligible for World's First. I mean, technically speaking, this is the first kill that ever happened, but it's not World's First. But yeah, the VG was killed in beta, so a lot of the strats for VG, people like analyzed Sickest Guild's kill of VG, like analyzed it hard. And so a lot of like, everyone was just mimicking sort of what Sickest Guild did. And so when we got to test the raid, we already kind of knew what to do for VG, so we didn't spend a lot of time progressing. We already knew you needed to have Condi classes for the red split. We already knew about the electric floor. We already knew about the tank moving strat. We already knew about all that. So there really wasn't like, a lot for us to discover. So our progression on VG was really fast. However, the next boss, progression was not so fast, and that boss is Gorsuval. Now I'm going to show you Snowcrow's World's First Gorsuval. Okay. Well, Snowcrows did not have Condi Warrior, because I'll tell you the story of Condi Warrior when I show you the DnT kill. Was no updraft? Yes, no updraft was technically possible, but the only guild that knew how to do it, in theory, was us. Because DnT was the only guild that knew about Condi Warrior. I'll tell you the story, but first we'll watch Snowcrows. So this is the official World's First kill of of Gorsuval by Snowcrows. This is Goku POV. The famous Worm Goku. Gorsuval updraft. You can see he's running a very familiar build. Look at the heal Goku's running, Defiant Stance. So why Defiant Stance? I believe the idea is that during Gorsuval's retaliation tantrum, you can pop Defiant Stance and keep doing DPS, is my guess. But let's look at their comp. So here's the thing. Look at what they're running. 3 NGs. You got to understand, people played the beta for Vale Guardian, and the comp that Sickest Guild had for Vale Guardian used 3 NGs. So an NG at the time was very meta. I mean, before HOT, Condi NG was very meta. Everyone used Condi NG in fractals every single day. And then, so you have this build, Condi NG, that is like super meta in fractals and super meta on Veil Guardian. So everyone assumed it was going to be super meta on Gorsuval. So every guild, besides DnT, was using, when they were progressing, were using Condi NGs, because that way the players who played Condi NG at Veil Guardian didn't have to swap. They just play the same thing, because Condi NG was again considered to be the best DPS class in the game. And my guess is what we're going to see is that Condi NGs are going to be used to clear orbs. They're going to nade kit the orbs to keep the orbs from overwhelming the team during the thing. Again, as you can see, 1 Chrono, 1 Druid. And I believe they are tanking. I think they're tanking with the Druid. I'm not, maybe Thor on DH is tanking, but I'm pretty sure the Druid is their tank, if I remember correctly. They have 2 warriors for Might, and they're using 2 heralds. The herald was there for Fury. The herald was there to help with Might. Yes, and the NGs well, Slick Shoes was meta, but I'm not sure if they figured that out for this. When we show you the DnT kill, we had a player using Slick Shoes, which you'll see how we did that, but I don't think that these guys figured out Slick Shoes, but I could be wrong. We'll see. All right, in they go. Everyone everyone ate the stomp. Okay, everyone ate the fucking stomp. Oh, just ate the stomp. Face tanked the stomp. You love to see it. So, dude, one thing you guys got to understand is Gorsuval was a tight fucking DPS check. If you had bad DPS, you would never beat Gorsuval. You could never beat Gorsuval if you had bad DPS. It was a hard DPS check at the time. What we figured out during progression was if your motherfucking DPS players, if your DPS players were Papegas and ate every fucking stomp and didn't dodge them, you would not hit the DPS checks. So what we figured out was we just had our caller, who was me, call out every stomp. And we would dodge every stomp. And it wasn't just DPS players. I don't want to blame the DPS players. Everyone in the raid had to dodge the stomp. We realized you were making it so hard on yourself if you ate the stomps. Because 1, you took damage, you lost your scholar buff, it interrupted your rotation. It's all bad. There's nothing good about it. So we got to the point where we called out every stomp, and if someone got hit by the stomp and knocked back, we mercilessly ripped them because they were trying to wipe us. They were being the imposter. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. The stomps were like super, like, it was like your whole brain. And oh, that's the other thing. Look at Gorsuval's movement. During testing, Gorsuval stood perfectly still like he does now and did what he's supposed to do. But when they released it on live, they broke something, and Gorsuval had this weird pathing where he'd like wander one way and then wander back to the tank, then wander away, then wander back to the tank. And it made it so much harder to do good DPS because he was obviously not, you couldn't tank and spank as easily. So Gorsuval's wandering probably added a dozen pulls to progression. One thing I also want to mention is Snow Crows took 16 hours to progress. This This kill is after 16 hours of progression on just this boss. So just this boss, and it took them probably a couple hours to do Veil Guardian. So now they're at 16 hours on Gorsuval when this is happening. So yeah. Let's see if Goku pops that Defiant stance. He does. Look at him go. He's doing big deeps. Doesn't care about the retail. He's got his Defiant stance kicking. All right. Gorsuval is going to pull up. Summon ads. Stomp. Nope. They're going to walk to the wall now. Getting ready to updraft. Getting ready to updraft. Got to knock that wall down. See, this is one thing that I'll spoil it. DnT, we kind of learned that NG is doo-doo in this fight. No, there were no DPS meters at the time. We learned, however, that NG we did the same thing. This is basically the same comp we started our progression with the same exact thought process that NG is going to be the best DPS class because it's the best DPS class. But we quickly learned that NG was doo-doo, and that actually Staff Tempest was really good here. One, because Gorsuval has a big hitbox, but when you pull Gorsuval to the wall here, your NGs had to like stop damaging Gorsuval and like actually try to cleave the wall. Your NGs had to like kind of like focus on the wall, and they couldn't, so they stopped doing damage. Whereas a Tempest could drop a meteor shower here and it would hit Gorsuval and the wall, and basically didn't stop you from doing DPS. So it was just a little thing that we did, that we figured out to up our DPS. But yeah, anyway, they knocked the wall down. Now Gorsuval's going into World Eater. They're trying to get as much damage as they possibly can on him before they have to flee. Look how they leave so early. Really, you want to be with the red. You can stay with Gorsuval and you can like move with the red, and yes, gliding was super janky, because gliding was server side, not client side. So if you had like any ping, your glider would just not deploy. So many people wiped because of just glider issues. Yeah. And then only a couple people did stealth gliding on the way back in, you noticed. So of course you get cleaved. And then they pull, this is like crazy. They pull Gorsuval back to the middle instead of fighting him right there. Like, Gorsuval will teleport back to the middle anyway for his tantrum. So they lose all this DPS by walking Gorsuval back to the middle. Like, look at, like, Goku's just sitting here, and like all these players are just sitting here like doing ZDPS, walking Gorsuval back to the middle. Oh, it hurts to see. It also hurts to see no quickness. Now he's gonna probably get quickness because of Time Warp. Yeah, Time Warp's down, so now there's quickness. Headbutt. And we get to the first split phase. And just looking at their mini-map, they're doing like a 4-way split. What we did, and I think what they're doing is the same thing, is you have... oh, hold on. So this player up here at the top right, at Northeast, all he's doing is chilling and like crippling and immobilizing. And then the same thing, the tank here. The tank commander is actually, I don't think he's I don't think that the Chrono's tanking, but the Chrono is keeping the mob just crippled, while the rest of the team kind of takes the other two, and then they're gonna figure it out. So a lot of teams during progression were probably doing even splits, and trying to kill them all like simultaneously, but obviously that will not work very well for you. Yeah, 3 people slow spirits while the Zerg goes around. Like, just, man. Goku, why did you swap to your mace shield? Why did Goku swap to this fucking weapon set? Oh, why? Oh, man, we played so bad. Oh. Oh, eats the stomp. Fucking... Do you know how bad? You know what? Goku has to know he fucked up at this point. Like, he's auto-attacking on Mace, and you know in his head, all he's thinking is, motherfucker, I just want to go back to fucking Greatsword. Like, you know he wants you so bad. Stomp? No. Stomp after this one, right? Everyone eats it. Fucking everyone eats it. Oh my god. It's a testament to how... it's a testament to how relatively good Snow Crows was at the time to the rest of the community, that they could eat that many stomps and still get the kill. Like, every stomp like that costs you huge fucking damage. Like, actual huge damage. So eating the stomps, mega bad. And Goku back on Mace for the CC there. Quick CC, very necessary. And now we pull... Oh, another stomp. Everyone ate it. Now they pull him back to the wall. Goku needs heals really bad. But he's not anywhere near the Druid. There he goes. Gets his Grace of the Land, too. The wall took forever to get down. Really fucking bad. The one thing you want to do here is... Here's the other thing. Knowing Snow Crows, these guys like hated open world, so they probably didn't have the stealth gliding mastery. Ideally, you'd want to stealth glide back in so that like you didn't get hit by any attacks as you, because like if you fly right to Gorsuval, he's just going to auto attack you and hit you for half your health, like before you even hit the ground. So you definitely wanted to stealth glide in if you could. But yeah, so now there's a complication of the orbs spawning around the arena. This is going to be a big problem. As you guys know, the orbs, you do not want to step in the orbs. That would be bad. Well, obviously he must have had gliding because he had it for the world first kill. But the NGs were on orb duty, and you will see that the NG's job is to grenade kit the orbs, and then once the orbs once the orbs are somewhat close, or the ones that are close get killed, they go back to damaging the boss. But you can see the NGs are sort of like, they'll be running around the arena clearing the orbs, because the orbs are a fucking threat. But now they got to get the boss to the... They got to phase the boss here. Get him to 33. They definitely cannot afford to fail this. They can't updraft here, but they managed to phase him during World Eater, so that is good. Now it's split phase. Now the NGs have like double duty. The NGs have to lock down, and they're the one that they're when the split, the ones that they're keeping occupied, but also the NGs have to make sure the orbs are clear. Again, it's hard to emphasize, most teams' damage was so fucking low that the entire arena would literally be covered by orbs. Like when I was watching like Wooden Potatoes and like you know, like all the maybe like not hardcore guilds, like just the Peepo guilds progressing, the orbs was what killed them every single time, because the entire arena would just, there would be no place to stand, and their DPS wasn't good enough to even kill with updrafts. But you can see the NG's doing big work killing the orbs. What I like about this POV too is that Goku is going to do a mega throw later on. Mela knows all about Goku throwing. I like how no one's rezzing. Eggs? Oh, we have eggs. So, eggs, the egg mechanic was a lot harder at this point because you couldn't dodge it. So, eggs at launch were way harder. If you were in mid dodge, as long as you were on top of the egg, you still got egged. So it would get you mid dodge. Oh, you still can't? I guess you can't. Yeah, I guess we sidestep it still. But eggs were a big threat. Because, I mean, eggs just like fucking murder your DPS, right? Like if you get egged, your DPS is wrecked. And again, it's really a testament to how good Snowcrow's DPS is that they managed to kill the boss despite people getting egged. All right, they're going to try to do a quick CC here to avoid dying. And now they have to pull the boss to the wall. They have to do an updraft now. And there's going to be another eggs as soon as they get to the wall. Right there. That was the death egg. If you got egged there badly, that would wipe your group. That particular egg, the pull to the wall egg, that was a very deadly egg. Eating the stomps. Every fucking stomp. It's like, from our progression, we were calling out every stomp. It was like inexcusable to eat the stomp. So they have Gorsuval probably at like 15%, right? More eggs. No one gets egged. Very good. Need a big CC here. Goku, major greed. That was the greediest of greed. Yes, they go for the updraft. The fabled fourth updraft. You might wonder why they didn't just. Why didn't they try to burn? They did not have the damage. There was no way if they stayed center that they would have had the damage. Oh, and Goku throws! Oh, you hate to see it. There goes the Eternal title, boys. No Eternal for Snowcrows. And that is winner POV. World's first POV, guys.
Sure, what do you have?
God,
Here's the comms. Let's listen.
God.
I am gonna be, done.
Whatever, kill him now.
DPS,
Yeah,
DPS,
we can
DPS,
kill him.
DPS.
DPS.
Just DPS. Fuck, in case.
Whatever, you can make it.
Yes,
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 oh,
yes.
finally.
Fuck, guys.
Yes.
Fuck.
We fought in
Finally.
rage. See, we can do it.
But
Goku is dead.
Goku
And
killed
Goku
our
is
achievement,
dead.
guys.
No. No, Goku.
No, bro.
That's an achievement, man. That's an achievement. What is an
The
achievement?
achievement.
Oh, do not die.
Do not
Nobody
die.
dies.
No. Fucking.
That was world's first.
I'm bugged.
I don't care
Gorsuval
if
kill.
you're bugged.
Okay, Goku get alive, come
Oh,
to your
I'm-
loot, make a
I'm free now.
screenshot.
And record it
Yes,
again.
yes.
Of course I recorded.
16-hour progression. That's what 16 hours of progression looked like. All right. That's pretty good, huh? All right, let's look at look at the DnT kill. So you'll see some of the differences that we had. from ours to theirs. Okay. Okay, so first thing, you notice our comp, we don't have any of the, we don't have Condi NGs because we realized that Tempest is just way better because Gorsuval has a big hitbox. You can damage Gorsuval and knock down the wall without having to stop your damage on Gorsuval and focus the wall. The Ellies will just cleave the wall and Gorsuval. So that the Ellie was just a huge upgrade, and the Ellie is just as good as clearing the orbs as the NG was. So pretty good. So the rest of our comp, we have the same two heralds that everyone uses. We had two power PS warriors. Andrew and Zell were playing power PS. I was playing Condi. We'll get to the Condi real quick, but our tank was a scrapper, and we used the scrapper tank because this comp is it isn't light on CC, but at the time it was light on CC because we didn't really, people couldn't play. So the scrapper was there to use slick shoes on the boss. So it was all about slick shoes, insta breaking the break bar. With current knowledge, we would clap it like it would be like a modern day kill. With current knowledge, we would have all been playing Fresh Air Tempest, right? Like we would have had with current knowledge, we would have had double chrono, one druid, or actually we would have had double chrono, double Condi druid, double warrior, and then 4 Fresh Air Staff Tempests, and we would have ass clapped it pretty easily. Not even a challenge. But so Condi Warrior, I'll talk about. Condi Warrior might have been. I think using modern day knowledge of rotations and using if we did a min-maxed Fresh Air Tempest, I would have to imagine that would out-damage Condi Warrior. I think it would have to. But I don't know. We didn't really have DPS meters, so it wasn't super easy to say. But I would imagine that a good player now using Fresh Air Tempest would have easily won. All right, so Condi Warrior. No one at the time knew that Condi Warrior was good. The only reason I knew it was good is because at the time before HOT, I was playing Sinister Warrior doing dungeon solos on Sinister Warrior. And that was pretty good. So on the test client where we were testing raids, we had a DPS meter, and we also had indestructible DPS golem that we could test damage on and stuff. So one day before raids, I was like, I want to play Condi Warrior with Berserker because I'd only played it with base Warrior because that's all we had in the live game was base Warrior. I was like, I want to try it with Berserker. So when I tried it with Berserker, I quickly realized that the longbow fire field was double hitting big hitboxes. And since we had a DPS meter, I knew exactly how much damage I was doing, and I knew exactly how much damage the rest of our DPS players weren't doing. And so Condi Warrior was doing double what our other DPS players were doing on this fight. So I don't know the exact number. So I think just on a DPS golem, I was doing 36 or 37k camping longbow on a large hitbox. Whereas a min-max like Herald rotation, which was like considered to be the best single target, would do like 30k. So it was like 20% more damage, thereabout. It was big. It was very big. So at this point, we had also been progressing Gorsuval for a very long time. On the test server, I think we were at like 16 or 17 hours of progression on Gorsuval. Like, we were in the shit. Like, it was not going well. One thing I will say in our defense was on the test server, it was before HOT launched, and we didn't have access to Viper's stats. So when we were doing the test server stuff, I had to play, and we didn't have Sinister stats either. So I had to play. I was testing this build on the test server with Rampager gear. That's how shitty the gear we had. We were only able to use core stats during raid testing. So yeah, because it was fucking busted. The F1 hit twice. It ticked twice. It was like ridiculous. But anyway, so purely by accident, because I happened to be playing Condi Warrior for dungeon solos, I'm like, I want to test out my solo build, but with Berserker, and see like how much better it is with Berserker. So I made like the solo build, and I hit the golem, and I was like, holy shit, this damage. Now at this point, we had killed Gorsuval one time during testing, and it was a clusterfuck. And I'm pretty sure it was just pure luck. Like, it was just like, we had like 4 people dead. We were in rage. It was just not consistent. The very first pull we did on the test server with the Condi Warrior, like, it was like night and day. It was like easy. That extra, it was probably like the difference of going from like another Herald to the Condi Warrior was probably like 10k more team DPS. And that was enough to make it fucking easy clap, to where we were able to kill Gorsuval every single time reliably without worrying about it. So I knew that this was the most busted build in the game. Before HOT even came out, I knew this was the most busted build in the game, but I couldn't say anything, because if I revealed this to the public before HOT or before the raid came out, I knew it would ruin progression. I knew that Gorsuval was going to take good guilds well over 10 hours of progression, but if they had this build, I knew that it would not take them nearly as much time, so I kept it a secret until Snowcrows posted their kill. And once Snowcrows posted their kill and got worlds first, then I made this video public, so people could see the damages that were happening. See, was there anything else? So one thing to add is, you might go, well, why didn't you guys play with more Condi Warriors? The issue was, one, this was on live server, this video, obviously. So not everybody had Viper gear at this point, or like full ascended Viper gear. It's not really a great excuse, but that's what it was. Like, it wasn't considered a priority for everybody. And then we kind of felt like we needed everything in this comp. Like, we needed PS Warriors, right? We didn't realize, it never occurred to anyone to play Condi PS. And put like, because, well, one, the golden dumpling food didn't exist yet. Or if it did exist, no one like really thought about it. So, and then no one, and like like Condi PS, that build just, we didn't figure that out. Like, that would have changed things a lot. If both of these warriors were Condi PSs, I mean, we would have fucking no updrafted this. Easy if those were Condi PSs, no updraft. But we needed the Heralds for boons. We needed the Tempest to clear the orbs. I mean, obviously we needed a tank, we needed a healer, and we needed a chrono. So there wasn't really, as far as like we could see, a place to squeeze in more Condi warriors. I believe it was DeRoyer's Guild. That did like 6 after like we showed this and it caught on. I think DeRoyer's Guild did like the world's first no updraft, where they had 6 Condi warriors and like kind of like destroyed the boss no updraft, and then ANET nerfed it. ANET was like, yeah, that's too much, and they nerfed it. But anyway, let's watch. Banners down. Look at that. Everybody dodges. That's because I would flame you if you didn't dodge that shit. Big dodging of the slams. And then DPS popping off. See if you can see a burn tick. No. 15k burn tick. Considering how bad the rotations were, like that was a lot. And the other thing too to remember is, I know we pointed this out in the Snowcrows video, Gorsuval kind of like walks around because they bugged it, and Gorsuval doesn't stand still. When we were testing, Gorsuval stood perfectly still like he's supposed to. So it was very easy to get all your burns on him. I think in testing, the biggest burn tick I saw was 30k. But obviously with Gorsuval walking around like that, it was not quite as easy to get the big numbers, but still like insane. But yeah, like we said during the Veil Guardian, and the Chrono was underrated at the time. We knew Chrono was good. Obviously, we used one, but we kind of figured that we knew quickness was way good, but we really underestimated alacrity. But yeah. And you see, like, we don't have to focus the wall at all because we have the Ellies. And the Ellies can cleave. And my fire fields were also cleaving. Dodging the motherfucking slams. That's how, see, like with Gorsuval like walking out of the thing, like that just cuts the damage so much compared to what it could have been. And you see, we don't pull Gorsuval to the middle. When we land, you saw like when Snowcrows landed, everyone goes back to the middle. Everyone in Snowcrows ran back to the middle and pulled Gorsuval all the way back to do damage. But we knew we had the DPS to phase him right here, so we didn't have to move him. So it was a thing where it was like, because we had really good damage, we didn't have to do as much movement. So just the whole thing together, pretty good. Yeah, and I would say, so the biggest differences between like what we were doing back then and what like we should have been doing back then was Chrono. Obviously, we should have had 2 Chronos. And obviously, the Chronos should have been fucking way better at their rotation and should have had perma alac, should have had perma quickness, should have been distortion sharing out the ass. Like, obviously, those things, in retrospect, were very good. But at the time, we didn't know. We didn't have, like, a super good way to know. Yeah. Well, there really wasn't too many other ways to make might. Like, Phalanx Strength was good, but it was kind of like might by committee. Like, your Phalanx Strength warrior made like 15 stacks of might, and then your herald made like the rest. And that was sort of the thing. So during our split, you see, I'm just like soloing this guy, keeping him crippled, keeping him immobed. And obviously back then, Berserker could actually use its base burst skill. Now you cannot do that. So I was able to use the sword immob to keep this thing from moving, which you cannot do these days. Then again, we're gonna have a DPS phase on Gorsuval, pull him, then he's gonna tantrum, then we CC, and we pull him to the wall, dodging slams. $19K burn tick. So you have to understand, a 19K burn tick, and then like a 4K bleed, and then like 2K of direct damage. So that was like what? Like my DPS at that particular second, not saying sustained, but at that particular second, my damage was like 25K. I guarantee you that was probably double what anyone else's damage was at that point. Like, this build was so fucking bonkers compared to like what everyone, like what was in the meta or what people thought was meta. Now I pull him to the wall. Dodging every slam. That's what fucking a lot of practice does. Yeah, we were saying that earlier, Ramirez, that the DPS meter is really what really force people to get better. It adds like peer pressure, right? It gives it's peer pressure not only within your team but also like other guilds. Like before the DPS meters, all that mattered really was like, can you kill it? Yes or no? Can your team kill it? Or like, can your team kill it without it being sloppy or without dying? Like speed kills, like some people like cared, but it wasn't really the biggest deal. It was just a matter of like, could you do it without it like being sloppy and without like wiping a bunch of times? But then when DPS meters came out, it was like, oh shit, this Ellie in Quantify got 15K on this fight and our Ellie only got 12K. Our Ellie needs to like fucking get better, like that sort of thing. It created a competitive Slick Shoes with the huge CC. Like that's why Slick Shoes was so good. Everyone else could do DPS, right? Everyone else was just doing DPS. And we did the entire CC bar from our Scrapper. So that's yet another reason why we used the Scrapper tank, was for the Slick Shoes. It meant that during phases like that, we still got the fast CC, but we also were able to not stop damage, so it kept our DPS pretty good. It's all right, second split phase. Gorsuval at 33%. And basically you can see in this phase, like you can see meteor showers dropping over here. The Ellies are doing their best to keep the arena clear of orbs. Like actually blowing big cooldowns to nuke these orbs. And you might say like, oh my god, this is so messy. This is so sloppy. I'll see if I can find like Wooden Potatoes Guild first kill, and you'll see it. You'll see sloppy. Ours looks like a symphony orchestra of cleanliness compared to like other guilds. So okay, we're gonna have eggs here, and I don't believe anyone gets egged. Yeah, no one gets egged because again, I would flame the fuck out of you if you got egged. So we do a quick CC. And then we are going to pull Gorsuval to the wall. And there's going to be eggs coming up. No one gets egged. The wall finally goes down. We're just squeezing as much DPS in as we can here. And now we go for our third updraft. Also notice that like we were very greedy with gliding. Like we got the fuck out of there. And you can see orbs are a problem. Orbs are a very big problem at this point. Like they're everywhere. So the Ellies are like on orb duty. So now Gorsuval goes mid. And I think one of our Ellies, I think this is Lucian, got in the orb goop. So he's gonna go down here. But I think we get him up pretty quick. Eggs. Oh, a couple people got egged because that was kind of chaotic. Lucian's still down. He's back up. We have our tank is down. But at this point, Gorsuval is like less than 5%. And we go World Eater. Most other guilds, he would still be at like 10%. And they have to glide for a fourth time. But because we had the power of Condi Warrior, we were able to easy clap. Nobody did. Yay. Okay. Let's see if I can find, just for comparison's sake, it's impossible to find fucking anything on Wooden Potato's channel. He's got like too many videos. All right, let's try this. Search for small. Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk more about raids. Why? Well, because that's pretty much all I've been doing in Guild Wars 2. What was it that also came out in this update? Right, new legendary weapons. Screw those. Screw any of the fixes, screw any of the changes to the collections. It's all about the raid-in, and I've got quite a few insights for you all. Raids are kind of one of those interesting topics. It's a polarizing topic. You know, I did a video on it just a couple of days ago, and people in the comments were like, oh, whatever happened to ArenaNet not do these huge, like, cleaving attacks. And
oh, let's see the wipe.
It's alive in the game. It has been brought to raids, and that's an exciting thing, and that's a great thing to have seen. Before I get into more specific discussion, I do just want to speak to the fun and the joy.
Oh, he walked into the goop. Why Wooden Potatoes? Why?
I think it is a true sign of
why would you do it?
That after 10 to 12 hours,
he goes back in. Oh no, no. Why would you go back in?
Funny moments that had us rolling around, laughing with one another in TS, and swearing at the top of our voices at the intensity of this battle. It's not just being difficult that has made this second boss fight in particular so fun, but the way it's designed is specifically to put you into countless scenarios where you're baiting on your last breath. So there's a big attack that the boss does basically.
Eating the stomp still has the ghost debuff. Get rid of the debuff. Wooden Potatoes, please.
And if you do not do enough damage while he's doing that, he's gonna burst you all. So almost every series attempt you get, you're in this scary last second.
Oh, nuked himself.
Shooting is so tight where you desperately need to push him over. With every single time you fight him, you're desperate to get as much damage as possible in. So you're waiting.
Oh no! Eggs. This is it. That's a wrap.
You managed to make it or not.
Big trouble. How did he rally? Did he get war bannered?
Quite fun.
Oh, this is chaotic.
And that's something really great about the second fight that hopefully you guys will come to appreciate too when you all get here as well. So I already talked a little bit in a previous video about dedicated support. I talked about how rewarded I felt playing it. But today I did want to talk more about the idea of tanking.
Slam? Oh, eggs? Slam? Everyone needs to slam.
With aggro management, at least, is a thing in Guild Wars 2. And this is still way better.
I wonder if any of the other players in the squad are still playing the game. Are these people all gone? And you see Condi NGs. Everyone still had Condi NG on the brain. Like I said, people still thought it was like the shit.
Community misconceptions that I do want to clear up really early on, because when you guys hear the word tanking, it doesn't mean anything remotely like tanking in any other MMO. Tanking in Guild Wars 2.
The problem is they're not really doing a good job of clearing.
Your party or your
Like, they only have one updraft left, right? But they didn't clear the path to the one updraft. They needed to. Their Ellie's like look, off here in Narnia, they're clearing an orb. Way off in Narnia, it's the opposite direction that they need to. Oh no, actually, never mind. I take that back. They're right. They're correct. Wooden Potatoes is looking opposite. So the updraft is to that side. So I take it back. But
one person builds tough
people getting egged there, that is bad because they are not likely to make it to the wall.
They change basically nothing, but they have toughness on their gear. So for example, they will change from Berserker's gear to Knight's gear, which
Somebody's not making it.
toughness. And by
Oh my
having
god.
high toughness,
Yeah, I didn't make it.
in raids, the boss will always
You see, Gorsuval's really low. Like,
throw his
if they had good DPS, this should be no problem.
Unfortunately, because of I guess the dedicated support people are running, because of how
The raids in Zwift are great.
there is having a high
It's mostly a PvP game, though.
you know,
If they had good DPS and they weren't just tanking the fucking things for no reason, why would they just completely threw? They, like, literally just threw that. Oh no, you hate to see it.
So what you really
That was like that was a hard throw.
here, but is otherwise DPSing like mad. So a lot of people who are clearing
Yeah, and then it all falls apart.
are people who are using, you know,
Like, they had Gorsuval like right where they wanted him. You know, like he was like, it was like 5%, whole team's alive, like one dead guy, but who cares? Like, all they had to do was not eat the black floor and they would have killed. But anyway, let's move on to Sabetha. So the thing about Sabetha is, compared to Gorsuval, it was not really that hard. As far as World's First went, I believe Snowcrows went to sleep. Yeah, NA, Sickest Guild NA was World's First. Snowcrows went to sleep, and Sickest Guild NA stayed up all night to keep progressing, which was an advantage for them because they were on NA. So they, like, it wasn't as late for them as it was for Snowcrows. So Sickest Guild had why is this? Sickest Guild had that advantage, but they did indeed get the World's First. And I'll show you. Actually, let's see if I can find their video. I'll show you their video, and then I'll show you what we did. I think our comp was actually fucking super good for that fight. I think Sickest Guild used I think Sickest Guild used Ellie's for their DPS on the fight. Okay, perfect. All right, here is Dom's POV playing Reaper. Let's look at their comp. They have, at this point, they've put their healer in a group all by themselves. I'm not sure what the thought process was there. They probably thought it would heal better that way, but yeah. And they have 3 warriors. I don't think they have a Condi warrior. We'll see real quick. Yeah, no Condi warrior that I can see. So just 3 warriors. They have, I believe, a hammer DH, which is good. The standard 2 heralds. You'll notice everyone. You'll notice everyone had 2 DH or 2 heralds on every boss because that was like the easiest way to get boons. You got a shit ton of might, fury, swiftness, protection. Like herald was just so bonkers. They did have a tempest. I believe it was a DPS tempest, and they had the Reaper. I don't quite know what the Reaper's point was here. Like, was it just DPS? Like, is there? I'm trying to figure out what utility the Reaper was bringing to the table. I mean, the damage looks decent. Obviously not modern standards of damage, but like I don't quite understand why not just another herald, right? What exactly is the logic here? Yeah, Old Alacrity was quite nice. Look at that Grace of the Land. You gotta like that. So the other thing too, one thing, well, you could say cleaving adds, but like, why not use Epi? I don't know. I guess they didn't have any Condis in their comp, so Epi wouldn't have done anything. But so another thing that a lot of people did, I know we did, and I assume other guilds did, was instead of having 2 people do cannons, you had 4 people do cannons. And the cannon, so like east was always east, north was always north, west was always west, south was always south. And the reason for that is that way you didn't have to learn the pattern. East knew when east was up, and that's all east had to know. East would just have to go, my cannon's up in 15 seconds at east. So you didn't have to worry about, like, you only had to learn where yours were. It's sort of like, this sort of also came back again during Doom progression. Like, I knew when my green was, like, I had like a little cheat sheet when we were doing like a little post-it note on my monitor with when my greens were, like when the first green, second green, third green, fourth green were on Doom. And it was on like what the time remaining thing till Enrage was. So I knew exactly when my things were. I didn't give a fuck about anyone else's. I always knew when my greens were. And it was the same thing for Sabetha. Everyone did 4 cannons or 4 cannon killers because that way you only had to know your own thing. I do wonder if the reason Dom is playing Reaper here is to have the well. Hold on. Is that well the blind well, or is that just the boon corruption well? I'm thinking maybe his plan is to blind the I don't think he has Locust. I think that's Signet of Spite, right? Or are you talking about the heal? Yeah, I guess there's no point in there's no point in over analyzing why he played Reaper. I'm guessing he just liked Reaper, you know? I think he just thought it was really good damage, and like the damage doesn't look bad. Like, it looks like he's doing, like, reasonable damage. I would like imagine that another chrono would be nice, but. All right, look at that. He's got alacrity now. Look at how fast. Look at how fast the cooldowns come with alacrity. Oh God, that 66% alacrity is fucking sexy. If only we could have that back. Give it back, ain't it? 5-man boons. I'll trade you. Give us. We'll go back to 5-man buffs, but we get 66% alacrity. What aspect ratio? We're watching a VOD. Slim JD. This is a VOD, so the aspect ratio is not going to be perfect. They missed the cannon there. Oh, no! Dude, Weaver with 66% alacrity would be popping off. That you love to see. You would love to see Weaver popping off with 66% alacrity. Is that what Weaver needs to get back in the meta? Dude, Hollow with 66% alacrity would be feels good, man. Yeah. There's really not too much to comment about. Like, the strats for Sabetha haven't changed. You know, like you do the same thing now that we did then. The only thing that's really different is the comps, and like the effectiveness of the players was a lot worse. I mean, obviously everything would be better with 66% alacrity, but yeah. Oh no! Oh, that person made it up. It's funny that there's still people like, so Snow Farron and Ace on Nyx were later in DnT. After Sickest Guild broke up, Snow and Aeson joined DnT. Nurse Chloe is Winston, aka Delay on Twitch, who is now in DT and does Fractal Records. So like, this guild still has active people that are still playing to this day, unlike some of the other guilds. Oh, look at that. Hold on. Wait, what? Whoa. So now that Sabetha's below 50%, look at that. Dom has switched to Greatsword, and look at that. He's got his Gravedigger on autocast. Look at that. Gravedigger on autocast. You love to see it. Gravedigger autocast. Well, how's he gonna do this? It's not gonna work. Why is he there so early? Oh no, he flew up like way early. I guess it works. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he might have just liked Reaper. I can't really think of a reason. It has pretty good cleave. I mean, the damage is good compared to like what other people are doing. Uh-oh, Carday's up. I don't think that why did Gravedigger take so long to cast? Welcome to a world where no one has quickness. Oh yeah, I think they kill it into Enrage. I think they kill Sabetha in Enrage. But I could be wrong about that. But they're doing a good job of not eating platform. Oh, nice Gravedigger on that cannon. I feel like nowadays most groups would just wipe way before. Like any group that would get to Enrage would just wipe before they got there. Fire those Gravediggers off, boy! I got 1 minute until Enrage. Oh my god. Yeah, because you got to figure any group these days that would get to Enrage is going to lose to the platform. Oh. I think they'll kill it before Enrage. So one thing I should also mention at this time is Herald's auto attacks were way better. They've since nerfed Herald's auto attacks. I'm gonna pause this real quick and see if they have comms on. Yep,
Good,
they do.
keep going.
Keep going.
Well, no Eternal, but fuck it.
Someone's dead.
I'm gonna turn it later. I got kicked.
Go. Deeps, deeps, deeps. We can kill it. We can kill it for sure.
Block.
10 seconds. Mass chaos.
Kill, kill.
Mass
kill.
downs.
Good, it's good, it's good, it's good.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, no more damage, no more damage.
Seconds. We are in rage. We are in rage.
Good job.
We're,
That's world's first right there.
I got a mini now.
In rage.
That's okay though.
And someone threw. So they didn't get Eternal. You hate to see it. Alright. Now we'll show you our kill. Talk about what we did a little bit different. Okay, so with our kill, we were running a comp that this was actually a comp that we theorized for raids before we even knew what the raids would be like. We called this one Heavyway because all like 8 of the 10 people are heavy armor, and our thought process was, well, they're just going to be tankier and harder to kill. So we have 2 PS warriors, 2 hammer DHs, and 4 heralds for DPS because Sabetha has a small hitbox, and we knew that Herald had better DPS than anything else that we could have run. Terrible banner placement on the banner of strength, but we have banners out the fucking ass, so. And I'm like super cautious with my DPS because I don't want to like eat a flame. I don't want to fuck up and eat a flame wall. It would not be good. Yeah, back then I had a lot of gold. Everyone had a lot of gold back then because of dungeons. We all did a dungeon tour every single day. So we were making like 100 gold a day. But our comp is like super safe. So what makes it so safe is everyone has heavy armor. We have perma-prot from the DH hammer. And we have, I believe the hammer DHs are using Semble heals, rid of the writ or whatever, writ of persistence. I don't know if that trait had been combined into what it is today, but I know they had Semble heals. So we had like insanely good sustain. Yeah, we had insanely good sustain. And we thought we needed the sustain for this boss because our healer was always out kiting the flak, right? So we knew we weren't going to get like tons of heals on the boss. So we would just get chip heals here and there with the Semble heals, plus having the whatchamacallit, the perma prot is like, I mean, obviously now everyone knows how good prot is. Everyone now knows how good protection is, but at the time people way underestimated protection. And we kind of realized with this fight that the enrage timer was pretty generous, not like Gorsuval. So the only way you were going to fail this fight is if people just ate damage. So we went with like what we consider to be like the safest high DPS comp that we could come up with. Did people not theorize Dragon Facet for prot yet? I don't know why. I don't think it was perma. But yeah, I think the way that the rotation worked, I think there was a trait for Herald called like equilibrium or something like that, where if you had below a certain energy or maybe above a certain energy, I can't quite remember, but but basically whenever you swapped legends, you did a big hit. Like it was like oh yeah, so your energy had to be above 50%. So if your energy was above 50%, you got like a big hit when you swapped legends. So you didn't really run, you ran enough, like I think you ran like Might and Fury, and you didn't bother using your other facets for boons. So you really wanted you wanted to not spend the energy on that. And yeah, people did not know how to bait the bomb yet, obviously. I don't think we realized that the closest person got the bomb. We thought that the bombs were random, I would imagine. But like, just the difference in protection, like we're under 0 pressure. And also, look at this fucking tech choice. Look at my food. I'm running the 200 power on kill food because there's ads. Like, that's 5-head. Nobody else was thinking. Nobody else had their brains turned on like us. I knew that 200 power food was OP, and you gotta find little edges. The one thing I didn't realize, what we didn't realize is that you could swap food. Obviously, we wouldn't have, like, there's no way we would have done like the hard swap where every 30 seconds you swap food. Like that would have been too crazy, but the idea that like no one knew that you could swap, or no one thought to do it. But you'll notice I stopped using my Greatsword Rush entirely. Greatsword 5. So many times during progression, well, maybe not so many, but like enough times during progression, I would like rush. I would do Greatsword Rush as part of my rotation, and it just happened to be that Sabetha flame walled, and I'd be rooted from the rush and die. And so I was just like, fuck this. I'm not using rush anymore. I don't need rush to kill the boss. We can kill the boss without me using rush. So stopped doing that entirely. You're curious what was harder, Sloth or any boss from Wing 1? Gorsuval was far harder than any boss until Doom. Gorsuval was... Look, again, Gorsuval took around 20 hours of progression for World's First. 20 hours on one boss. And that wasn't 20 hours of clock time. That was like 20 hours of like log of playing. Like it was no joke. I think the only boss that was since then that was that long was Gorsuval. Every other boss was killed day one. Well, yeah, see, Synthest, the reason is because, well, one, we knew from testing that the enrage timer was generous. We knew we could play like this safe ass comp. Like this comp is so safe. Like this comp was like ridiculously safe. And we knew that as long as no one died, we would kill it before enrage. So you just played like super safe and you were guaranteed this kill. As long as you did the what you're supposed to do and did the mechanics, you're good. See, I think Pugs, if Pugs didn't, I think a lot of Pugs, once we put out our kill video and everyone saw how busted Condi Warrior was, I think that's what made Gorsuval progression for Pugs like possible, or more feasible. I think without that video or without that build, I do not think Pugs were going to kill Gorsuval very quickly. It would have, like, look, it took Snowcrow's 20 hours or somewhere around that. Like, there's no way that like Pugs of random shitters were going to do it any faster unless they had like busted builds. Oh yeah, so that was the other thing too, is we also had on the on our Dragon Hunters, they had the stability field, the thing that no one uses anymore, like one of the consecration that makes pulsing stability, because we had died so many fucking times to people getting kicked into the flame wall. Yes, hollowed ground. We had lost so many pulls to getting kicked into the flame wall. We were like, fuck it. When she puts up the flame wall, just drop hollowed ground. Just do it. And you can't lose. Like, we played it so safe, and I'm very happy with how this comp worked. Like you could have like easily replaced two of the heralds with like an Ellie or something, or something to get more damage, but I don't think it would have been worth the trade-off in boons or safety. Yeah, I honestly hope that, I mean, I think when they change back to 5-man boons and stuff, the game will get depower creeped. It's not going to get depower creeped to this level, but it sure would be interesting to see like if people had to like really hard focus mechanics. Yeah, we really did not want to fight Carde there. Like, him not being in the middle really fucked up this run. Like it really made it harder. And you can also see, like, look at that. I'm focusing down the flamethrower. The flamethrower, those flamethrowers were like a fucking threat. The flamethrowers are a fucking threat. So you can't, like, you can get overwhelmed by those flamethrowers. This flame wall could always be nasty with card A shooting. But like, look, like our perma protection, our protection is so good. We have protection, stab, our boons are perfect. Well, I mean, obviously not perfect quickness and not perfect alacrity, but like this comp like was just so good. This is actually our second kill. Oddly enough. I believe Targ, if you guys remember Targ from DnT, he didn't have he was playing with our other raid group. And they didn't get Eternal, but Targ was like one of the testers. So after we did our first kill, we went in again and got Eternal for Targ. Yeah, we already had Eternal and everything, but yeah. Anyway, that was that. So that was the Wing 1 retrospective. Fun times in Wing 1 going on back in those days.